Mr. Transformers 96 here with another end of the year video. This time it is my ranking for the Build-A-Figures from Marvel Legends of 2017. So this year there was 7 Build-A-Figures. As you can see, they're all laid out here in front of you. I will be ranking them from my least favorite to my absolute favorite. In this ranking, I'm not just saying what I think is the best or the worst to best purely based on the figure itself. I am also putting personal preference into this, how much fun I had with them, things like that. So it's not strictly going to be what's the best, it's more going to be what was my most disappointing Build-A-Figure to my favorite one, rather than it being the worst to the best. So let's get started here with my least favorite Build-A-Figure of the year. Of course, last place has to be given to Mantis. This was a really terrible Build-A-Figure in my opinion. I really don't think it's very defendable, although I've seen people try to defend it, but I just don't think that this qualifies as a Build-A-Figure in the wave whatsoever. It's a nice figure, it's a completely new sculpt, which is awesome. The issue is that most of the figures in this wave are a new sculpt. I mean, Gamora and Nebula are the exact same size as Mantis, they're both completely new sculpts. The only difference is those figures come with accessories, and this figure you need to buy 6 figures to complete, which is absolutely ridiculous. This is a fine figure on its own, but it's an absolutely terrible Build-A-Figure. In 6th place, we had the Vulture Build-A-Figures Wings. So this is one that's hard to rank because it's so different from any of the others, because I'm not going to include the figure in this. I'm not, counting the Vulture figure, because you need to buy him separately. So it's basically just the wings on their own. I do think that this is a pretty weak Build-A-Figure, considering you needed to buy 6 figures to complete the wings, and then you needed to buy the 7th figure to actually, put the wings on. So, yeah, the wings themselves are alright. They feel a bit cheap in some areas, however, some of the paint is kind of nice and the articulation is decent, but it doesn't feel like a great quality. The size is the thing that's really nice. They're very long, which is great. They look like they're in scale to the movie, but they're very flat, so it's not like you're getting a ton of plastic with this either. So overall, it's hard to judge this one compared to the rest. However, I still don't think it's very good, and had the Vulture's pieces, the Vulture figure himself, had his pieces came with the Build-A-Figure wings, it would have been a lot easier for me to appreciate this figure more, but considering you need to buy him separately, that does bring it down a bit in my mind. 5th place goes to Man-Thing. Overall, the Build-A-Figure himself is decent. It's pretty nice. There's lots of detail on it. The paint is pretty good. And yeah, he's a decent size as well, which I do like. Personally, I didn't really have much fun with this figure. I don't know, just there was nothing to kind of do with it. I expressed this in the review. It's fine from a technical standpoint, but personally, I don't find the character very interesting, and I didn't find the figure very interesting either. So it's more of a personal preference as to why I'm not too into this Build-A-Figure. However, I do have to put it at 5th place. And the 4th spot goes to Titus. This one's actually kind of surprising to me. At the beginning of the year, if you told me, which Build-A-Figure I think would make it to the last place on this list, I would have said Titus. I was not looking forward to this Build-A-Figure whatsoever. When I got it, though, and it was fully built, I actually ended up having a lot of fun with this one. I don't know why. It was kind of fun. I think the character's ridiculous. The size of this isn't very big. There's not a ton of detail on it either. So just overall, from a technical standpoint, it's not great, but I had fun with this. It was really fun to pose him fighting Kid Nova, and the figure himself just provided a lot of fun. And it was fun to pose. It was fun to come up with pictures for. Putting the blast effects like in his cannon was really cool and really fun to kind of play with that as well. So overall, this one is the complete opposite of Man-Thing. Figure-wise, not great, but fun factor for me personally was really high. So although he's not, he's actually dead middle in this list, I actually really did enjoy this Build-A-Figure. In bronze place, we have the Sandman. So this Build-A-Figure isn't particularly large. It does reuse a few of its parts from Absorbing Man, which is a little disappointing. However, where it's different is it really counts. I think that the arms are very cool. I love the different accessories that you can change out and swap out for the weapons of his hands. And then most of all, I like the face sculpts. I think both of the face sculpts are fantastic. Like, it's hard to pick which one to use because they're both so good. I love the damaged one, and this just normal one it really screams Sandman to me. So although it's not the best figure as far as like innovation is concerned, I think that the actual execution on it is really solid. And then just character-wise, I'm a big fan of Spider-Man villains. This is a classic Spider-Man villain, so it's great to have in my collection because of that reason as well. and Warlock takes second place. This was a really fun, cool, unique, interesting Build-A-Figure. I think that's the best way to describe it. There's a ton of detail. I absolutely love the painting on it. I think it looks great. It has this rusted bronze type of feel to it, which just looks awesome. Really do like the expressiveness in it, and the character himself seems to be really fun. Also, the articulation is absolutely top-notch on this figure. I really do like this figure a lot. He's not particularly big bulk-wise, but he's extremely tall. One of the tallest Build-A-Figures that Hasbro's produced, you know, since they've restarted the Marvel Legends line. Overall, I really did enjoy this Build-A-Figure a lot. I almost put him at number 1. What held me back from putting him at number 1 is the fact that his joints are a little flimsy, as far as just they kind of bend, and it gives him an awkward position at his knees and things like that. So there's a little bit of technical issues that keeps me from putting him at number 1. However, I must say he almost made it to number 1. And my favorite Build-A-Figure of 2017 is going to have to be the Thor Ragnarok Gladiator Hulk figure. This was a really fun, cool figure. I really did enjoy it. It's completely new sculpt. I love the armor pieces, and the articulation is very good. And it was a fun figure overall. I really enjoyed posing it, especially with the Thor figure. And you also get quite a bit with this figure. Not only is he very large in general, he's one of the largest Build-A-Figures of the year from Marvel Legends. I believe he might be the largest. Warlock is certainly taller, but when you take in bulk to consideration, he might be the biggest one. But then you also get 2 massive accessories and a helmet, so you really do get your money's worth for this, as well as you only need to buy 6 figures to complete him. A lot of the figures in some other series required you to purchase more. So overall, I really did enjoy this figure. It was really fun. It has, from an execution standpoint, it really hits hard. I think that the sculpt and design overall is great, and the articulation. And then just from a fun factor for me personally, I had a lot of fun with this one, and it was fun to pose and fun to take pictures of, and yeah, overall really enjoyed it. It is a solid Build-A-Figure on both the function and on the personal preference side. So overall, this year had some mixed Build-A-Figures, I have to say. You know, some were really solid, some were rather disappointing. Unfortunately, it looks like going forward, the disappointing ones are going to be a little bit more common. There is an Apocalypse Build-A-Figure coming up that looks really nice. It's not very big though, and it reuses some parts. The very next Build-A-Figure is just basically another Mantis. It's just a regular size figure, the way of it is a new sculpt, but there's really nothing special. So overall, I'm not, you know, super confident in Hasbro going forward as far as their Build-A-Figures are concerned. This year though, mixed bag, like I said, some decent Build-A-Figures, some great ones, and yeah, some really disappointing ones as far as the fact that they shouldn't be Build-A-Figures in my opinion. So there you go, you know, mixed bag of the year. We did get 7 Build-A-Figures this year, which is pretty on par with Hasbro's usual assortment, I think, and yeah, and character-wise, they were very mixed, you know. We did get 3 of them being movie Build-A-Figures, 4 of them being comic Build-A-Figures, and really only one of the comic figures wasn't super obscure. I mean, Sandman is a very big comic book figure, but Man-Thing, Warlock, and Titus are relatively obscure Marvel characters, so that's kind of interesting as well. So there you go, that's my thoughts, and that's my ranking on the Build-A-Figures from Marvel Legends in 2017. Let me know what you guys think of my ranking, and I'd love to hear your guys' ranking as well in the comments, and thanks so much for watching.